Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are having a look at a new ship that is coming to the game in the next major update, the Leonardo da Vinci. Now, one thing has to be noted about this ship. This was technically not on the first iteration of the dev server. Right now I'm recording this on the second iteration of the dev server, since it was updated overnight since yesterday. So that's why you don't see it in the new naval vehicles video. This one just wasn't there. But now it is. It was in the files and has also been talked about previously, so that's kind of where it comes from. The Leonardo da Vinci is named after quite an iconic person in history, but also is part of the Conte de Cavour class. We already have a Conte de Cavour in the game. It's right here at 7.0 and is slightly different to the Leonardo da Vinci, which is why they are different in BR. Basically, the Leonardo didn't exactly have a great service life, basically being built, then decided that it wasn't it was too valuable to use properly, and then got blown up by saboteurs. So not great for such an iconic name. But in War Thunder, it can have a slightly better period, I suppose. Being a battle rating 6.3 vehicle and also being a premium, it can be useful to grind out pretty much the whole of the tech tree for Italy, all of the rank 6 and below, if you want to get into that battleship stuff super quickly. It was a GE vehicle, so that is something to also note on it. So I don't think there'll be a pre-order for this or a pack which is for it either. So let's have a look at the Da Vinci and what it has. It has a bunch of these 305mm guns, the Armstrongs, that you'll find on some other ships, and it has three sets of triple-mounted guns, one on the front, one in the center, and then also one at the back, and then two sets of dual-mounted 305s, basically making the complement. So this has 13 guns overall, which is quite a nice broadside, actually. When you compare it to a lot of other machines that either have 5 or maybe 12, 13 is a bit of an odd number, but also will give you more firepower. It also has access to 18 single-mounted 120mm guns, and also the 76mm that has 13 of those, all on these turrets, which look so funny to me. The fact that they have all of these just sat on top of them. Such a weird combination, and definitely kind of interesting. Has the standard 120s in the little areas here, though, on the sides of the machine, very reminiscent of the First World War, because, well, this thing is from the First World War, 1915 specifically, when this variant is from. It also does have some torpedoes on it, which are your very standard battleship torpedoes. Some in the front, one in the back, and generally useless is probably the way to put it, because you never get in range of those things to hit them. On the X-ray, we can also see that there are some coal bunkers giving additional support to the vehicles, transmissions and engines, and two huge smoke funnels to have both of them set up. It also has access to a massive amount of ammo for the front guns, which shouldn't be too surprising, a ammo rack in the center for the large gun, and also at the back. So wherever you shoot this thing, you do have a chance of the ammo just going pop. Since it's a battleship, it does have some armor, not as much as some other machines that are around a similar BR, which is probably why this thing is a little bit lower in BR than general. You have 230mm of armor, which changes to 250 in different parts of the belt. Then you have 220, which is on top of that, and a bit lower, you have once again the coal bunkers and some more rolled homogeneous armor to keep it safe. Especially around the ammo areas. You also have a 120 belt on top of that, and a bit on the front in the form of 100mm, and also a bit on the back in the form of 90 and 80. The deck is 30 in the center, 110 a little bit differently, and 14 on the front. So depending on where you decide to drop bombs and stuff, they will do a lot less or more damage depending on where it goes. On the turrets, you have 280 on the front, which is quite nice, 240 on the sides, and the bridge itself has 280mm too, and the ammo elevators have access to 240mm at the same time. So there is a decent amount of armor on this, just not as much, as I said, as some of its compatriots, which is a bit of a problem. The 305mm have a 2 round per minute reload, which sucks. It's something we've talked about quite a lot, being a bit of a problem with these machines, and the targeting speed is unfortunately 3 degrees per second. So it's going to take you quite a long time to get the guns on target, but at the same time, at least once you do, you'll be able to dish out a lot of damage with the 13 guns. You got the fire director, which actually has 100% measure accuracy, which is nice, and the calculation and update time are also completely fine, especially when you have a look at the reload of the guns too. And I don't think it actually has another system. You do have a separate bridge here, so I'm guessing you'd have to knock out both if you wanted to lose control of the vehicle, which is cool. For the 305mm, you have access to SAP, which has 31 kilos worth of explosive mass, and then also you have access to the APCBC. So once again, do you want a bit less penetration, more damage, or do you want more penetration and a lot less damage? You can see with the SAP, it pens over 400 and has 31 kilos worth of explosive mass, whereas the APCBC, it has 5.66 kilos of explosive mass, but pens nearly 700. So it's a big difference in terms of what you want to use, and will be determined basically what you want to fight. The 120s only have SAP though, so you don't have any other options. Same with the other guns on it, the 76s, it really doesn't give you much of an option around that area. Now, there isn't a lot of AA support on the vehicle, but at the same time, you don't really need it. Once again, around this BR, doesn't really matter too much about that. And also the torpedoes, even with torpedo mode, only go 6 kilometers in the water, which is pretty terrible. I don't know how else to put it. If you're a battleship and you're kind of fighting at that area from the others, it doesn't really make too much sense. So what you're getting out of this vehicle is an iconic name. It only has the standard camouflage so far. I'm sure it'll have more. Maybe it will have access to a custom flag, which would be kind of cool, especially since it's known as the Leonardo da Vinci, but who knows at the end of the day. The vehicle has pretty decent secondary armaments to be able to deal with smaller vessels, and also the larger guns will be able to do a lot of damage, especially with the amounts that exist. The only thing I'm a bit worried about is AA support and the fact that its reload is quite long, and when I have a look at its BR, one of the big things that it will face is a lot of those heavy cruisers / battle cruisers with a lot better kind of, I suppose, reload than it, which will be kind of annoying. So hopefully that isn't the case. Hopefully this thing can and will do more damage and be able to do enough with the 13 guns that it has access to, and then, you know, kind of go forward and have a bit of fun. The Italian Navy needs a little bit of work to make it a bit more interesting. Hopefully at some point that is the case, and hopefully we get something which looks pretty fun as we go along. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Juan the Panda, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Bareen, Peter Grayling, Alan Hacker, Sem Alslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R, and also Lafouche for supporting the channel.